Hi all, hope you're well and when you're getting this. So this is lesson 6 out of 7 for AC 1.2. Next session is the assessment. So I know you'll be super pleased with this. So what we're looking at today is surveillance. And we're going to look at two parts. We're going to look at CCTV, which we've done before a couple of times, and court surveillance. Covert surveillance, so spying, undercover stuff. Okay, so CCTV. You might remember this from about a year ago. One on the right is Ross from Friends. The one on the left is someone who looked like him who caught stolen a keg of beer. There's some very funny, like crime-related CCTV stuff there for you to watch if you want a bit of a giggle. We would watch it in class because they're funny. So CCTV, so closed circuit television, means it shouldn't really be able to be hacked. It's just on an insular thing being recorded. So in Britain we have loads of them. Okay, yeah, we're caught about 300 times a day. Obviously not at the moment, but it can be, just very widely used in the UK. Not so much in other countries. I think the place with the most is airports in the Middle East. They have up to, like, in the Dubai one, I think, has over 1,000 cameras in. Okay, so it's out there a lot. So the reason to have this is obviously we can record things that are going on, so we can see what's going. We can watch it live or afterwards, and for crime related purposes we can use them as evidence. It is admissible to have this as evidence. So lots of reasons to have them. It can provide evidence, can maintain order, it can prevent stuff, it can provide reassurance. Some of you might have CCTV for your house. Okay, so there's lots of reasons why we like CCTV. And the police use it in a variety of ways, which you can kind of see here. Okay, so it can and has the potential to be very useful. Okay, brief history, just pause this and have a little look to see how it's come on. Okay, but an important part of this is, remember when we did rational choice, if we have CCTV, okay, it might decrease the offenders or potential offenders kind of, this will kind of go on there. Oh, perhaps I shouldn't do it. I'm on CCTV. Okay, so that's kind of the rationale where CCTV fits to kind of prevent crime as well. So does it help? UK studies suggest kind of yes, big large decrease in certain crimes when after they introduced it compared to before, but a study says it only helps solve 3% of all crimes. So that's one case where it's used per 1,000 cameras installed. So you kind of need to weigh that up and see what you think. Obviously we've got image issues with CCTV. Like, why the hell's that helpful? There were two guys with jumpers. Okay, compared to other ones where they could be very useful. You can kind of see who they are. So the quality of the images are important, how they're angled, so you can cover your face. However, since CCTV kind of became more affordable and introduced, you'll see there is less crime. Does that prove that it was the cause? I don't think it does, but it shows you there might be a link between it. Okay, so are they big summary, are they useful? Yes, they are, because we've got evidence of it, and they can be on all the time when obviously police can't be around. You can use them in court. It can act as a deterrent. It can reassure people, so it's nice and useful. Okay, obviously with less and less police officers, more CCTVs means we've kind of got eyes in places. However, it can't stop all crime. Okay, they don't let you know that stuff's happening. You'd have to go back through them, and we'll come on to that. As I said, the quality might not be good enough. You've got to have your cameras in the right places. Is there a proper training for that? Okay, they might not work. I think I covered this before, but in Met Police, if there's CCTV, they will look at it for 20 minutes, and if they can't find like the shoplifter in that time, they won't use that anymore. Obviously, for bigger cases, they could do tracking and stuff, but for run-of-the-mill cases, so not always used as good as it could. Okay, and obviously people can learn that where they are to avoid them. They can learn to cut them down. So I think overall, personally, for me, like they have their pros, but there's big cons as well. Okay, so the usefulness, if it works, great. If it doesn't, okay. So this is the work to do for CCTV. Standard stuff. The case up, a couple of cases. Um, there might be the George Floyd case that's obviously happening at the moment, where we've got things being caught on camera. Okay, so you can use that as well if you wish to. So the second bit of surveillance is covert surveillance. Okay, and the correct term is the covert human intelligence sources. Okay, so undercover police officers and informants, and the idea is that you kind of go and undercover, gain relationships, finding out information. There's a nice thing to listen to here. Okay, so Google search this, about a 7 or 9 minute clip of a role of what the kind of a covert intelligence officer would do. And when we're back, I'll tell you, tell you a funny story about someone who I know who's a covert or undercover intelligence officer and what his wife did. It was so funny. So you know what they are now, and with kind of county lines, gangs happening, we're using more and more kids. I mean, like under 18s, in this, and obviously that is quite thought-provoking that someone your age could be an undercover informant for the police. Okay. Do you think you'd be mature enough to be able to process this and to kind of not get caught? Okay, so there's lots of kind of issues here, so lots to kind of read up upon to see if that is useful. Okay, but obviously having covert officers, you can find out information that you might not. You can stop crimes that happen, and obviously big crimes would be really important. So kind of heavily linked with the National Crime Agency. Okay, you can testify in court. However, you might become biased. You might entrap, so you might like force people to do things, or kind of like, and when you could have stopped them. Obviously, this is an expensive thing to have someone undercover for a prolonged period of time. Okay, so there's that. So there's two kind of bits of work to do. There's one more bit coming. Don't spend as much time on these two today. A page and a half, I think, max will be all you will kind of need kind of to do. However, when you finish that, there's 20 minutes more work to do, and we need to apply the investigative technique. So we need to know what situations, what kind of techniques would we use, and kind of looking at the types of crimes as well. So the situations we need to look at the crime scene, a lab, a police station, or streets, or which of the investigative techniques would kind of work there. And for the different types of crime, so violent, e-crime, property crime, what type of investigative techniques would we use? So an example would be for street crime, CCTV, if it's covered, would be really good. Eyewitness testimony, because someone could have seen something. You might have undercover officers there, and you might be able to collect evidence to use in a database. Okay, that's not an extensive list, but an example of what to do. So attached, you will see a handout. Okay, you know I love a grid. You don't have to use it, but you need to do this, and you need to put an explanation of each one. So for the street, CCTV could be used. This is good because you can see the event. However, might not have a camera, might miss it. So you kind of a bit of a pro and con of it as well. Okay. Next session is controlled assessment practice for AC2 1.2, and then a documentary and some questions to kind of do. Okay. As always, guys, if you need anything, I'm on Teams. You know I am. You know I'm there every lesson. So just yell if you need anything. I hope you're well. Cheers, guys. Bye.